Baran. I'm actually assistant professor in computer science and robotics. And what I would like to talk about is our programming environment, and before talking about that, I would like to mention that we are about to found our company, Robot I, where I stands for Interactive, Intuitive, and Industrial. We are working with industrial robots, not other types of commercial products. And the thing that we are doing is quite interesting, because we are actually letting people, anybody, program a robot. This is one of our robots that we are working with, and as you can see, it's quite complicated instrument, and for some reason they are getting more and more complicated, but the programming of this device is getting more and more, doesn't get easier. That's the main challenge of the industry today. And what we focus on is actually small and medium enterprises. We have right now focused on Swedish market at the moment, and we are looking into the European market as well. And you have to focus on your market. You have to focus on your market. That's the deal. That's why we have been working closely with companies that already owns a robot. Imagine that I think 90% of the enterprises in Europe are defined as small and medium sized. That means that up to 250 people are working in them, and most of them are actually in need of automation. And this is a problem that we are planning to solve. And also one of the biggest applications, I think it's 15% of the applications in robotics, is pick and place. You pick something and place it somewhere else. Very simple, very easy, hard to program. Okay, time consuming. That's the pain. And the pain is actually something that grows, because the problem that you have today is that you have to hack through the whole code. It's not that they have advanced sensors. They do have sensors, but you still have to do the programming part. And this takes time. I don't want to go into the figures. People will actually ask me to tell you that, but roughly 40 hours of programming, we can do it in 15 minutes. 15 minutes of talking and working with the off-the-shelf tablet PC. In this case, we actually have a Samsung from Galaxy Pad from 2011. And I think you can see the interface on the right-hand side here. You actually have augmented reality, which means that you can see what is going on with the objects on the bench where your robot is looking at. So it is the reality. On top of that, you have some graphics that give visual feedback, so that you don't make any mistakes. Now, this is very easy, convenient. You get the feedback immediately, which means that you actually see, you have the debugging part of the programming as well. You can always skip this part and feel like, now I want to hack some code, and go into the code itself and do the work if you want to. That's up to you. Which means that you don't have to throw away the system that you have at the moment. This is something that is add-on onto your system. We have done some verifications thanks to Anne, who is financing, and her colleagues, which means that we have had in-depth interviews with 2 large European robot manufacturers, one German, no names, and the other one is Swedish and Swiss company. And we have had interviews with the integrators that those companies let the robot to be integrated into the manufacturing system. And these are our guys that have the competence of programming the robots. And we had interviews with companies as well, which might be our customers, financed by the Nova game. And they all agree on the fact that even the robot programmers, companies agree on the fact that we do robots for the automotive industry, not for small and medium-sized enterprises. So if you don't know what to do, automotive industry is 75% of our market. But I guess you know what is going on in Detroit. And I guess you probably don't know what drives all the small and medium companies. You have the pressure of the huge holding, cut down the cost, but it's not that easy. You know? And what we also have done is the interviews with university students in production and industrial design programs. These are the guys that will use these robots in about 5 years from now, and actually getting some interesting feedback. And we actually have 2 companies that we collaborate with, one in Sweden, one somewhere else in Europe, to get some real feedback. These are the customers that would like to buy the product. Benefits, yeah. I mean, cutting costs, increased productivity, and saving jobs. This is no joke. I mean, at the end, you save the jobs. Status: one person a year in open implementation until the beta version. And
you're actually over time, so
sorry.
you can leave that up. But
this is last
I know, but you're about 20 seconds over already, sir. But you can leave it up there. We'll read it. Okay. Questions?
Thank you.
Please.
I don't know how big your market is. Is this for, you said small and medium businesses, is it a programming tool for the small and medium businesses? You just said that my customers are the large manufacturers. Like, I don't quite understand where you're selling this. Sorry for being a little harsh on this, but it was also, I didn't quite understand what the product does. Like, what is the need for that? Why do I need to reprogram it if I'm just picking and replacing it? Why do I need to do that? So that would be helpful to explain as well.
Yeah, you have to reprogram your system, because when your order is not done, you have to do something else with your robot. But when the pieces are manufactured, you have to reprogram the robot to manufacture new different types of pieces for the next customer. This is where the problem is, because if you cannot program your robot, you can't use it.
John?
So glad to see you're doing a lot of interviews and in-depth interviews and getting the feedback. What's the biggest thing you learned that you didn't expect?
I think the view that we have, that it is quite complex to program these robots, and which means that they actually stand still for I mean, usually they have the robots working up and running for 3 hours per day, and that's it. And we have to increase that time to 8 or 10 or 15 hours. That's the gain. That is the productivity gain. The reason for that is that they cannot find the integrators that are expensive, and they don't have time for the small and medium-sized companies, which means that they are sitting and waiting for a solution.
Johan?
Yeah.
That's what you need to tell us. That's key. Exactly. Johan, please.
How come ABB and the others aren't solving this problem?
You know what? I work and live in the same city as ABB, and we actually using ABB robot. They don't solve the problem. The reason for it is that they are focusing on the automotive industry. They don't care about small and medium enterprises, and that's it. I'm a researcher. I've had several meetings with ABB. They don't want to deal with the small and medium enterprises.
Because you're saying the large manufacturers don't need to reprogram the robots, the small ones need to.
The thing is that large ones had the money and funding to get the expert and make the work done. But small and medium ones, and medium is up to 250 people, they are still large. The thing is that the manufacturers are hoping that something will happen in the automotive industry, that the sales will increase, and they will still be able to sell the robots to those companies, but I don't think so.
Time for one last question. John, did you have a burning question? No? Okay. Anybody else with a question? If not, we'll switch to feedback for those of you who didn't get to ask a question. Let's start with Marlon. Or we can start with Alan.
Sure.
We'll work our way
I'm
down.
always game for some feedback. Okay, this seems to me like a very logical problem that you're solving, and it will result in a logical pitch too. And I think you already mentioned that there's a huge time difference in programming the robot. With your method, it takes, what, 5-10 minutes versus 2 or 3 hours, right? So obviously there's a huge cost savings.
40 hours.
Or 40 hours, whatever. That's a monumental cost savings, right? And I think I would have liked to have seen more color on not only the time savings, but you said the integrators are a lot more expensive. So I think you could give us a number where you're cutting the cost of reprogramming robots by a factor of whatever, 15x, right? And what does that equal in terms of dollars? And that becomes a very simple, buying decision for small and medium-sized businesses. And then, what's a reasonable market size for you know, globally for that solution, you know, and I think then you would have a much clearer picture.
Yeah.
A lot too, I think this is too academic of a presentation.
Okay, Sarah?
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. Just more, more scientific kind of data showing the ROI, and then some more data about the market size.
Ulis?
So, Baran, I think you're onto something interesting here, but I would validate a few assumptions, right? So the assumptions you're making are that the small and medium businesses have a need for reprogramming their robots because you think that they can actually utilize that extra capacity. Understand that better?
Exactly, yeah.
Because if they truly do, and if you can reduce it and you can create this kind of saving, of course, then it's logical, as he says. It makes sense, right? I mean, it should be a fairly no-brainer sale to the small and medium business. The other thing I would do also is think about your delivery model. Why not make this cloud-based, this programming tool, right? So now I can do a self-service model. You don't have to incur a lot of expenses for selling this from small business to small business, right? You can create some interesting use cases and see if it's possible to go about with those kinds of techniques. 3, your pitch, he said, is academic. I would focus on that value proposition. You know, what delta in productivity that you create for SMB business. Translate that to a market size, depending on sort of who you're pitching, investors or not. And then 4, I can't remember. But I have no idea who your team is. Like I have no idea who's doing this, and you know, show me why this thing is going to be. Because I actually am kind of sort of weirdly turned on by your idea. Because I think there's something interesting here, which I would be so I think it's off the beaten path enough that you have the runway to actually build something meaningful without too many competitors getting in the business.
Yeah.
John?
Thank you.
Marlon, either you guys have anything to add?
Not really. I think the team one's a good one, though. We really focus on teams. So that seems to forget that. So, yep.
Okay. All right, good.